The best way to make money is to be part of a structured process that runs every day. And such a structure is called a system. For example, take a look at the mill over there. In this mill, you have line up workers who are always part of the process of milling the palm fruit. So there are lineup of workers that play key roles that make the mill function. This mill's operation is necessary to keep up with the demands for palm oil in the market. Now, since palm oil is an industrial and also domestic product for food processing and also for making food, of course, you will always have those who are making it continuously working on the process. So the key thing is being part of the structured process and an unalterable process. That is a process that is already in place. So why it is called a structured process is because it has already been put on ground as a structure, just like when you build a house and it stands there. All you need to do to take shelter is to walk into the house. The house doesn't have to move, right? The same thing happens when you have a process. So one of milling is a process that is already in place, and those who work in the mill, lineup of workers, play the key role that keep the structure on ground, which means that the milling itself depends on their presence and continuous participation in the mill's process. So if you were to consider doing something to earn a living and you wanted it to be something that will last or stand the test of time, you need to think about what process are you supporting? Which structure is that process hanging upon? And does it form a system, which means a circle that continues? Okay, so if you can answer these questions and you are genuinely playing a role that keeps a process ongoing, then you have a stable source of income. So is there any alternative to being part of a process without doing the physical work or being physically present in the process operation? Yes, and that is what my Power40 street funding is about. It brings down to bear all those who may not have been part of the financial market, but now with a structured analysis, finding a key setup, one setup for the week, usually called a swing trade strategy, just one setup for the week, and the market that runs through these setups repeatedly weekly will recognize any position that is taken in line with that setup. So the Power40 street funding remoteness community provides an ongoing support for finding these setups whenever they occur weekly, and they always occur weekly because the market works like a system. There is a cycle that goes on and on from day to day, week to week. So in the Power40 community, just like a cycle, you can see here, right? A cycle that has to keep rolling for it to keep running. Okay, there are the support provided for members of remoteness community to get their hands on trade setups at the right time before they move. And you know what comes in these setups? You get paid 100% of the capital you commit to it. So your work now is not physical but capital commitment and being the one who pushes the button, right, to take an entry. All of the support you need to take an entry will be provided. Your own job is to provide the capital, so the capital substitutes your physical presence in the market. And the capital you don't pay to anyone, just as being part of a process, you have to fund the market. And when you fund the market, then you are given that very entry because you are already in the market for it. So if you were not able to fund the market, that is fund your own entry, you will not be part of the circle going on in the market. So which means that your capital is the liquidity that supports the ongoing circle for the assets being traded, whose setup is found for you. And your job is to follow the instruction, take the entry, and you are ready to make 100% returns for the week. If that is not enticing enough, let's think about what is the actual value of 100%. All right, so it is, for example, you are coming with $100 capital. 100% of $100 capital is $100. So look at it as if you came with $200 capital, 100% is $200. If you came with $300, 100% is $300. And all you have to do is to have just the capital and be there to press the button when you are given the instruction to do so. So I have been able to make this simple for just anyone to be part of the process of the market circle that goes on again and again. As you can see from the mill, if you were part of the mill, you could be sure of your daily pay, right? So now let's analyze the advantage of trading over being part of a physical process like the milling. All right, so in the physical mill, you have to do a very hard work, but you can never get paid up to $20 per day. Never, especially in this kind of community, a remote community, okay? Nobody is going to pay you $20 because even the oil doesn't cost that much, all right? But the oil is very important and it will continue to be demanded for. Yet, it doesn't make you earn up to that, even if you work for the whole day without sitting, all right? So here there is physical exhaustion, physical exertion, and at the same time, you are not getting paid as much as $20. But look at that, in the market, you don't even need to commit all of this. Because why do I use $20? Because if you could earn $20 per day, multiply it by 5 times a week, right? That will give you $100 a week. Is that not so? But I said even in the mill, you cannot get $20 per day. You can't even get $10 per day. But in the market, just once per week, you take that setup and you get $100. Just one setup. And you don't even need the technical knowledge to look for the setup. In Power40 Remoteness Community, I, the founder, provide you this setup. So what are you thinking about? This is something that you will always be happy for if you are part of. All you have to do is plan your capital. How much can you start with? $100, which is the minimum, or $200, $300. Think about it as you controlling what comes into you as your weekly pay. If you came in with $100, you are paying yourself $100 per week just for being part of those who will take the entries once I provide the setup for you. So, is this not fair enough? Then what do I get paid for this service? Yes, very good question. I will demand 50% of whatever you get paid weekly. So you are not paying me before service, you are paying me after seeing the results. So nothing to fear, nothing to worry. And then if you are not interested in learning how to take this entry, if you're not interested in learning how to take this entry, all you have to do is have the capital. I will not be charging you for my service fee. I will allow you to follow my setup. And even if you do not follow my setup, I already always structure, okay, myself to find this setup per week. So only take their entries with my setup, make the money. So if you're not there, you miss out. I don't miss out because I will always do it whether you are there or not. It is part of my commitment to the Power40 community. But if you are going to take my setup and you're going to make money from my setup, then you're going to pay me 50% of whatever you make from this setup. So once you get paid weekly, you pay me so that you can continue the next week, which means ideally you're going to be saving $50 and I'm going to be getting $50 if you could make $100. Okay, the same thing happens if you make $200. You're going to be saving $100 while get me paid $100, okay, for my service. So both of us benefit from it. If you are ready for this, then I'm waiting for you. I'll coach you on how to set up your account and then be part of the process. If you don't want to take my setup, you want to learn, Power40 trading community is also open for you. In our scientific trading school, we have the STS course that provides you the same ability to analyze the market and find the setup yourself. So we didn't hide any information whatsoever from you, which means you can always thank me for being generous and being open to give you what you need to earn stably, because the market is always going to run since there is a demand and supply economic factor driving the prices of commodities, apart from even economic events and other political events, okay, that make investors interested in an asset. All right, and these assets are backed by banking activities going on every day. You know, the market opens and runs as the banks open and run, because the banks are rendering the accounts, okay, for financial transactions that go on in every business, since every business have to pay for their product or services, whether from a consumer or from a supplier. You see that, right? So there must be this payment that goes on, and all of these payments are backed up with physical assets such as gold. And so in Power40 community, we focus on the one very volatile asset, and that is gold. So you see now why I said being part of the process is the surest way, the best way to make money, right? A structured process, and the market is the most structured process. If you understood how to be part of it, you can always make gains from it. And with Power40 behind you, you are already covered for everything you need technically to see the right setup that gets you paid. What are you waiting for? You do not need to be pushed, right? You have to make the decision yourself. Plan the capital. $100 is the minimum. As much as you can start with, that is what you will earn. Remember, whatever you earn, you pay me 50% of that. That is my share for supporting you this much. If you have any questions, also feel free to chat me up, and I'll be there to support you to set up your account, to see that you can fund your account and wait for my setup. Once the setup is available, you can make use of it and make gains. If you want to be sure how my setups can actually change your life and be effective, I want you to go read the survivor story of Obinna on the Power40 community. Okay, you can see that Obinna took the step that you are about to take, and it changed his life. The moment he left Power40, it drained him financially. The moment he came back to Power40, he was put back on his feet, and it changed also the welfare of his family. So your own fortune is at stake right now. If you are part of the Power40 community, you are going to see yourself get transformed. So let's see you come with us. Thank you. So now I'm happy to invite you to join the Power40 trading community, because this is where I will be providing you my services. My name is Francis Isugu, and I will be your coach and mentor. See you inside.